Welcome to today's deep dive. We'll be looking at AB6 aseptic sampling valves,
Okay.
which are a pretty critical part of the food and beverage industry
Yeah.
when we're talking about making sure that our product is both high quality and safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Accurate and hygienic sampling is
Hugely important.
really key.
Yeah,
So
really
I
important.
think that's what we're going to be unpacking today is how these AB6 valves help us do that.
Yeah, so what I find really interesting about these valves is that they take a representative sample without actually, jeopardizing the whole batch or
Right.
the production line itself.
Yeah, because one contaminated sample could mean that a whole batch is compromised.
Absolutely.
So we want to avoid that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing here that we have information on three main types,
Okay.
REC, RES, and REMA.
Uh-huh.
What can you tell us about those?
So all three use this special membrane mechanism, but they're each designed for different applications.
Okay.
You can think of this membrane as like a self-sealing gateway. It allows you to extract a sample while preventing any product residue from clinging to the valve.
Oh, so it's kind of like a self-cleaning system.
Exactly.
Built right in.
Yeah, and this is essential for maintaining a hygienic system.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, I'm seeing a lot of mention here about sterilizing by liquid or steam and flame sterilizable.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell me what exactly that means and why is that so important?
So these terms really highlight how important hygiene is in food production.
Yeah.
These valves are actually designed to be sterilized in different ways.
Okay.
And these are all commonly used across the industry.
Okay.
So flame sterilizable, for example, means you can use a direct flame to kill any microorganisms on the valve.
Oh, wow.
So this ensures that the sampling process doesn't introduce any contaminants.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
So it's not just about taking a sample. It's about taking it in a way that's totally safe
absolutely.
the entire process.
Yeah, it's like, if you're having surgery, you need to have sterilized instruments
Right.
to avoid infection. It's the same kind of principle here.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm seeing here, too, there's this term syringe sampling membrane support.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So that feature is there to simplify sample collection.
Okay.
The membrane support is designed so you can easily and safely take a sample with a syringe.
Okay.
And this streamlines the whole process for the technicians.
And I imagine minimizes the risk of stills.
Absolutely reduces any errors during collection.
So it's all about precision and efficiency and safety,
Exactly.
which are all super critical when we're talking about, this fast-paced production environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when we think about someone who is working in a food production facility, what are some of the key benefits that they would see by using these valves?
So the biggest benefit is something we've already touched on, and that is that you get a really representative sample.
Right.
This means you know exactly what's going on in the batch,
Right.
which is essential for good quality control.
Yeah. No more guesswork.
Exactly. So you can be confident in the results.
And I imagine avoid a lot of costly errors, too.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing easy integration and
Yeah.
simple automation.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on those a bit?
So these AB6 valves are designed to work with the cleaning cycles and systems that you already have in place.
Oh,
So you don't need to make any big changes to your processes
Right.
to start using them.
So,
And the automation aspect is interesting because you can potentially link these valves up to a fully automated system.
wow.
So this would reduce the amount of manual labor.
And increase efficiency.
Exactly.
And, increased efficiency usually leads to cost savings,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is why I think we see low maintenance costs as a big benefit here.
Exactly. These valves are built to last.
Okay.
They're made from durable materials, and the design means there's minimal wear and tear. This means you don't have to replace them as often.
Right.
There's less downtime for repairs.
Less downtime, always good.
Yeah, and you save money over the lifetime of the equipment.
So it's a smart investment in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got the REC and the RES models,
Uh-huh.
which it seems are tailored for these low viscosity liquids.
Yeah.
And then we've got the RM,
Yes.
which is designed for thicker liquids and even pastes.
That's right.
Can you kind of break down the differences between these and when you might use one over the other?
Sure. So think of the REC and RES models as your go-to for things like water, beer, wine, spirits,
Okay.
things that flow easily.
Right.
The RM model is what you'd use for thicker substances.
Okay.
So think milk, cream, yogurt,
Okay.
or even pastes.
Gotcha.
It's designed to handle these thicker substances without, affecting accuracy or sterility.
What I find interesting about the REM model is how it addresses these bacteriological risks
Right.
in those thicker products.
Yeah.
It mentions a unique design feature. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, so the REM model uses a stainless steel grid
Okay.
along with a PTFE membrane. This basically creates a separation between the used and unused areas of the valve.
Oh, okay.
So you reduce the risk of cross-contamination.
I see.
So you're always sampling from a clean section of the membrane.
That's a really good feature.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in indicator to make sure you're always getting a clean sample.
Right.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next question. We've got some companies here that are mentioned, like Granite Danone and Nestle,
Yeah, good names.
who all, trust AB6 technology.
Yes.
But before we move into applications,
Okay.
can you tell me about those certifications that are mentioned in the documentation?
Yeah, so the CE 1935 2004 certification is really important.
Okay.
This means that AB6 valves meet the European food safety regulations.
Okay.
So it gives producers and consumers confidence that they meet the highest standards.
And I imagine that that's really important for companies that are operating in a global market
Absolutely.
where regulations can differ so much.
Yeah, it really streamlines compliance and builds trust.
I'm also seeing here that AB6 offers a variety of materials for their valves.
Okay.
Stainless steel, EPDM, silicone FKM, PTFE.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So the reason for that is adaptability,
Okay.
because different products and processes need different materials
Right.
to work their best.
Sure.
So, for example, you might choose a silicone seal if you're working with high temperatures,
Okay.
or PTFE for its chemical resistance.
Okay.
So AB6 gives you a lot of options.
So you can select the right valve for your needs.
Exactly.
It's almost like a build-your-own-valve kit,
Yeah, in a way.
tailored to the different demands of different food and beverage applications.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And I think this leads us perfectly into the next section, where we can talk about some real-world examples
Okay, sounds good.
of how these valves are being used across the industry.
Great.
So stay tuned for that, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive on these AB6 aseptic sampling valves.
So we've talked about a lot, that membrane mechanism and, all those certifications and different materials they use.
Yeah.
But let's make it real. Let's talk about how they're actually used out there in the field.
Okay, great. So let's take an example in the beverage industry
Okay.
with the REC and RES models,
Okay.
which we know are for low viscosity liquids.
Right?
So let's imagine a brewery
Okay.
that's producing a nice lager.
Okay. Love it.
And throughout that whole process, from, the initial mash all the way to filtration,
Uh-huh.
accurate sampling is so important.
Right, to make sure it's the same every time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that consistent quality and flavor.
So every time you have a sip of that beer,
Yeah,
it's meeting those exact specifications.
exactly. It's all about brand consistency.
Right. And making
Huh.
sure that your customers are happy.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
with these valves in place,
Yeah.
the brewers can take those samples at different points.
Yeah. Without worrying about contamination,
Exactly. And without changing the beer.
which could mess everything up.
Yeah.
So they can monitor things like sugar content and yeast activity
Absolute.
to make sure that the final product is,
Perfect.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to think about how these little components
I know, right?
have such a big impact.
Huge impact.
Yeah. So what about the REM model,
Okay.
which I know is designed for those thicker products?
Uh-huh.
How is that used in, let's say, a dairy facility?
So the REM model is perfect for dairy production.
Okay.
Think about yogurt.
Yeah, okay.
It's a really sensitive product.
Right.
You need to be really careful with it.
To get that texture and flavor just right.
Exactly. And of course, make sure it's safe.
Of course.
So the REM valve,
Yeah.
with that special stainless steel grid and the PTFE membrane,
Uh-huh.
guarantees that the samples come from a clean spot.
Right.
So you're minimizing that bacterial contamination risk.
So it can handle those thicker consistencies.
Yeah.
But it's also designed for the hygiene needs
Yes.
that are so specific to dairy.
It's like it was made for dairy.
That's got to be so valuable for those producers who, are
Absolutely.
really focused on, both quality and safety.
Yeah, they want the best for their customers.
Right.
And they want to know their product is safe.
Exactly.
So yeah, it lets them monitor things like fat content, protein levels, and of course, any unwanted bacteria.
Right. So that we end up with a product that's both safe and delicious?
Exactly. And it's not just for yogurt.
Okay.
Think about milk ice cream,
Uh-huh.
all these different dairy applications.
Where that level of accuracy and hygiene is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it sounds like AB6 has really considered the different needs
Yeah, they've done their research.
of different parts of the food industry.
Definitely.
It's not just a one-size-fits-all approach.
Not at all.
They've got, specific tools for specific tasks.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really valuable for those producers.
I think it shows that they understand their customers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, that brings us back to that installation flexibility we were talking about earlier.
Uh-huh.
These AB6 valves can go into both tanks and pipes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what setup you've got.
It's about being practical.
Exactly.
And making it easy to use.
Yeah, make it work for you.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's not just about the product itself. It's about AB6's whole approach.
I was going to say, it's almost like a philosophy.
Yeah, a way of thinking about the industry.
So it's not just selling valves. It's about optimizing.
Yeah, they want to help companies improve.
Production costs, quality control, environmental standards.
It's like a holistic view.
Right. They're not just thinking about individual parts. They're looking at the whole system.
Absolutely.
Which, is really relevant these days when we're all thinking about sustainability.
Yeah, for sure. Sustainability is key.
And responsible production.
Absolutely.
And it's clear they're taking that seriously when you look at that list of companies who use their tech.
Right.
We're talking about Agrana, Danone, Nestle.
Yeah, the big players.
These are the leaders in the industry.
Absolutely.
And they wouldn't settle for anything less than the best.
Exactly. They're setting the standard.
So if we had to, sum up this whole segment,
Okay.
what would be the key takeaway for our listener?
So I think the main takeaway is that AB6 valves are more than just accurate and hygienic.
Yeah,
It's about going above and beyond the basic requirements.
Right.
It's about a commitment to innovation and a real understanding of the food and beverage industry.
It's almost like they're offering a partnership.
Yeah, a way to work together.
Rather than just, here's a product.
Exactly.
Buy it.
Yeah, they want to help you succeed.
And do things better.
Exactly.
And speaking of doing things better, if anyone's listening who wants to find out more,
Yeah.
we mentioned earlier there's a great resource right here in the Benelux.
Right. Hyperosis BV.
Hyperosis BV, the exclusive AB6 partner.
Yeah, they're the experts.
So if you're ready to learn more, we'll have their contact info at the end.
Sounds good.
So for our listeners out there, working in this industry, why should they care about these AB6 valves?
Well, imagine, that feeling of knowing every sample you take is a true picture of your product.
Yeah.
No contamination, and it's ready to be analyzed properly.
Right.
That's what AB6 gives you.
It's about confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing that you're not going to have those costly errors.
Your product is top quality.
And safe for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether we're talking about, getting that perfect flavor in a beer or, making sure that dairy products are safe.
It all starts with the sample.
AB6 is there behind the scenes.
Yeah, the unsung heroes.
Making sure everything runs smoothly.
Exactly.
And for those listening who are, thinking, okay, I want to explore this further.
Yeah.
We did mention a resource earlier.
Right. Hyperosis BV.
You're the exclusive AB6 partner here in the Benelux.
They're the ones to talk to.
So if you're intrigued, visit their website at www.hyproces.com.
Okay.
Or you can send an email to isales@hyproces.com.
Perfect.
Their team is ready to answer any questions.
Yeah, they're great.
And really help you optimize your sampling processes.
Absolutely.
Now, as we wrap up today,
Okay.
any final thoughts?
I would say that, accurate and hygienic sampling isn't just something to tick off a list.
Right.
It's a real investment.
In quality.
Yeah, in safety.
Yeah.
In the trust that your consumers have in your brand.
That's a great way to put it. AB6 is offering a way to make that investment.
Absolutely.
And really take your production to the next level.
To that next level, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive
It's been a pleasure.
into the world of AB6 aseptic sampling valves.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep those samples pristine.
Absolutely.